Right, let's finish off this Q&A. Any chance that we'll get more insight into this period of the war, whether it be in flashbacks or prequel films, perhaps prequels on the STENTARIAN conflict, the battle with Megatronus, etc. I don't have any immediate plans to cover those events, but I'd love to contextualize the battle with the Fallen further. I don't think I'd do a story specifically about that event, but maybe character pieces or other media can explore like the reasons that the Fallen came back and the events surrounding that. I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 stories in general that can be told about the war on Cybertron before I can say like I'm done with that period and I want to move on to other parts of the timeline. What are your favourite lines in Target Alpha Trion? Basically anything that Megatron and Starscream say. Starscream's got some fantastic lines, and I think he's got about like half a dozen lines altogether. But he's just got a lot of really funny bits, and Megatron's got some great villain lines. So literally everything that they say. One of my definite favourites from Megatron is the
when you die, I want us to be even.
Which is just fantastic foreshadowing for the season 1 Ascension finale. I also love Optimus's speech about the Allspark being lost. As Bradley does so good with it. He does such a great job delivering it. He really like gets across the conflict that Optimus is feeling about his actions. Is like, I've done the right thing. I think. I'm not sure. Was it the right thing to do? So those are my favourite lines. Which were your favourite characters to write? Like I said, Starscream and Megatron were so much fun to write. It's nice to write some of the A-tier characters after so long. Excellion is a huge fave, and I recognise that he's been a favourite of like a lot of viewers. It's nice to have an Autobot who sees legitimate failings in Optimus's leadership and has the balls to actually call him out on it. And it's very rare that we get to see that explored in like visual like TV and film media. I think it was the All Hail Optimus run by IDW, which kind of covered that with a lot of his followers who kind of treated him as a god. And I know that Prowl's definitely had a couple of misgivings about him throughout that comic run. But yeah, it's not something that we see in the visual format a lot, and Excellion was a great channel for that to happen. Coming back to Optimus after so long was great. We'd see, I mean, it's an Optimus that we recognise for the most part, but he's still he's still relatively young. He is still learning a few things about being a leader, so showing him with those flaws and that kind of that hero worship of Trion and how that is affecting his judgment and his leadership was so good to write. I think it is possible, despite what people say, to write a really good Optimus Prime solo story without compromising his morals in the slightest. What inspired you to make this particular story? Are there any pieces of it you would rewrite or cut out? So it started off with finding a Botcon Alpha Trion on Facebook Marketplace for, I think it was £100, which is an excellent price for that figure. And it's essentially just a flex that I got that figure because there are so few of them in the world. So I bought that for my birthday last year, and I really wanted to show it off. The story began as a shorter kind of Ascension verse little thing that would have been maybe around the length of Zodiac Bridge. The characters would have been Hound and Chromia helping evacuate Trion from his besieged city from Megatron, who's chasing after him. I can't remember if the Allspark being ejected was a factor in that. But it was essentially a shorter version of Target Alpha Trion with less character moments, more focus on cool set pieces. And then I started to think, why not make it a longer feature where I can explore the relationship of Optimus Prime with Alpha Trion, because of their strong connection, why not have Optimus in the actual story interacting with Trion, exploring more of his his relationship with him, and also fleshing out the history of the Ascension verse a little more. And then, script drafts started happening, expanding the story with the synopsis, and we got Target Alpha Trion. I don't think I'd change anything about the film as it is. All the scenes that I cut were cut in the scripting stage, really. And that was done primarily for pacing, or because they didn't really offer a lot for the story. I mentioned in the creator commentary, which incidentally, if you've not watched it, go watch it, link in the description, that after Optimus receives the Matrix and meets Omega Supreme, there was going to be like a little segment where he charges into battle for the first time to help the Autobots defending the Decagon against Megatron and his Decepticons. And I had a great idea for a shot, like this really fun long tracking shot, but it didn't work with the flow of the story. It just felt a bit unnecessary. So I decided cut that, finish it on him declaring my name is Optimus Prime, and then bring us back to the main story. What made you decide to go with characters like Six Gun, Lancer, Getaway, and Excellion? Were there any changes in any characters replacing others, or was there going to be more characters? For Trion, I needed some relative nobodies that could be expendable. A big part of Target Alpha Trion is Optimus's blind loyalty to his mentor, and how early on in the war that is a detriment to his leadership of the Autobots. At this point in the timeline, I wasn't prepared to kill off any A or B lister bots, so I just kind of like looked through my shelves and started thinking about like combinations, like literally just like picking figures up, putting them on my bed, looking at the group next to each other and thinking, will this work for characters and also for like just a myriad of designs and color schemes. The plan was always going to be Optimus, at least one A or B lister who would suffer serious injuries, which ended up being Hound, and 2 to 4 unknowns who could be blank slates of personalities and kind of rack up the body count. Again, in the commentary we talked about a few characters which would have been potentials in there, so watch that through again and you'll find out who those might have been. One person I don't think I mentioned is I considered Cybertron crosswise for who would have been like the Cybertron figure instead of Excellion. It might have been a different character. I don't think it would have been the same character. I think he would have been just another body, but he was another potential that I don't think I mentioned in the creator commentary. Are you planning to do more with Excellion? At the moment, I don't have any plans, but I would really love to do something else with Excellion. If a project arises where his return would make sense, I'd love to bring him back, and I know that Isaac would love to portray him again. The positive response for Excellion has been amazing, and it's been very affirming that I made the right choice for his character in the film. What was your inspiration to include Peter Spellos and Gary Chalker's Alpha Trion on Hound? As the story started to develop from a short into a longer feature, I figured it was probably the perfect opportunity to get some guest voice actors in. Peter I've known for about 5 years now. We met at TF Nation, Auto Assembly, one of those, and I've had the opportunity to meet him a few more times at TF Nation and attend some of his improv classes that he hosts in the UK, which when there's not a pandemic on, he does about 2 a year. And we stay in contact on Facebook as well, just chat there. I really thought that he embodied that kindly old wise sensei character, just like that archetype, just who he is. That's just who he is. And then when we got round to recording for him and doing some tests for the character. In fact, no, I think we just went straight into recording with it because I just knew that he'd be right for it. Trion just fit him like a glove. And it really felt like the part was made for him. And yeah, I'm really, really pleased that he he agreed to be on board for this. With Hound, I didn't think it was particularly necessary to have a guest voice actor for him, but I was emboldened by my success with Peter Spellos, that I figured, try my luck again, see if I can get another one, and I approached Garry Chalk, which was an unconventional take, I think. I don't think many people would have expected him to work for Hound, but he really did. So I messaged Garry Chalk on social media, asked if he'd be interested in taking on a fairly substantial role, to which he agreed and was incredibly gracious, and I am indebted and very grateful to Garry for taking on something that was not an insubstantial role, so I'm very appreciative of both actors for coming on board and being part of my universe. I did also approach Greg Berger and David Kay for potential roles, but those, for one reason or another, just didn't happen, which is, fair enough. What gave you the idea for Excellion and LANCE'S dynamic? First things first, I want to be absolutely clear, there is nothing romantic between those two. It was never intended to be a romantic thing. It was always supposed to be big brother, little sister sort of thing. Like, Excellion is very caring for Lancer because she is still incredibly young, even by Cybertron standards, and he wants to protect her from this horrible, horrible world that she has been born into. That's just... it was always meant to be like a sibling thing, so yeah. But we got a few drafts into the script, and I felt like it was really missing like an emotional core. A lot of characters were dying, but it didn't feel tragic. So with a couple like further rewrites, we started to establish Lancer's history more as a child soldier, really, and totally desensitized from the world that she lives in. Making Excellion that big brother for Lancer and having that personal connection just ties everything together really nicely, and it gives you the best emotional payoff for when she dies as a result of Optimus and Trion's actions, either like from whatever happened to the Allspark to their, Optimus's leadership being affected by his hero worship of Trion. Just having that extra layer of character depth it just brings everything together just so well. I'm so pleased with how just all of the character moments came together, but especially Excellion and Lancer. Will we be able to see some Ascensionverse soundtracks on Spotify? Hopefully yes. Music Man Dan is working on ways to get the Target Alpha Trion soundtrack onto streaming services or for purchase, wherever that is. So that is being explored at the moment. I don't know about the other soundtracks, just because we've got multiple contributors to different seasons and stuff. That's up to them how they want to go about, if they want to make a profit out of that, or if they want to share it. That's up to them. But I will support whatever they want to do, because at the end of the day, it's their music. But we do have album art for the Target Alpha Trion volume. It's just right now working out the logistics of sharing that with people. Would you like more Target Alpha Trion memes? Yes, please. They are hilarious. In case you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description again. Emma, who voices Lancer, did a kind of like Vine compilation of Target Alpha Trion memes, and it's so funny. I watch it like, I don't know, over half a dozen times, and it just kills me every time. I think Mason and Dan came up with a load of them that they've shared in the in our Facebook group. So please, if you have any funny memes for Trion, send them in, because I will love that. And that's it. That is all the questions we have for Target Alpha Trion. So thank you so much for being so patient with how long this video's taken. I've just been very, very busy over the last 2 months with sorting out a new job and a variety of other projects. But thank you everyone who sent in their questions. Thank you everybody who has watched Target Alpha Trion, left a comment, liked, subscribed because of it. Welcome if you're new. And yeah, I'll see you round for whatever my next video is. But until then, a goodbye.